Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and coffee stream number 382. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. And it is Monday, so, we're all bleh. But let's kind of make it a little better, shall we? Let's have a good stream. Let's have some good discussion. And let's talk about some things. Now, I've got a Viva Frei video that we're going to watch, and I do hope that he doesn't mind. But I just Pincalo sent it to me, and it is going to segue nicely into the articles that we have, and he does also have some articles linked here that we will read. So thank you, Mr. Frei, in advance for us using your video. If you're not subscribed to Viva Frei, you should be. He is a litigator in Quebec, in Montreal, and he does vlogs. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this video, and then we're going to read some of the articles that it has to deal with, because it is it's going to be a ranty day, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a very ranty day. Let's just say that. Between this and yeah, it's going to be a ranty day. So let's get right into it, shall we? I do hope everyone had a great day, or a great weekend, like I said, and is having not too bad of a Monday. I know Mondays are often kind of shitty, but hey, let's make the best of it, shall we? And without further ado, here we go.
So the Peel Health issued guidelines on what to do if your kid is sent home from school because someone in their class tested positive for COVID.
Now, Peel Health. Peel is a region in Ontario. This is all Canadian-based news that Viva Frei is talking about here. Peel region is the Ottawa region, I believe. I think that's what it is.
Peel Health, for those of you who don't know, Peel is a region to the Never Eat Shredded Wheat northwest and west of Toronto.
Oh, it's
in
not,
Ontario.
okay, it's of
Peel
Toronto,
region.
okay.
It has 3 cities, I think Mississauga, Brampton, and something else. It's in Canada, it's in Ontario. It's a big region. They issued guidelines, instructions, which they sent to parents, or they were handing out flyers, and the parents didn't want to take the guidelines, or they didn't want to take the physical flyers for reasons which are going to be obvious when we get there. The Peel Health actually recommended that if a kid is sent home from school because someone in their class tested positive, that kid has to self-isolate for 14 days in their home.
So if a kid has been sent home because somebody else in their class is sick with COVID, they have to isolate in their home by themselves, is what this is saying, basically. Why is my ring light so loose? Sorry, guys, I just noticed how loose my freaking ring light was. Like, it's wobbly. That's not good at all. Like, holy shit. Don't worry about that in a minute. I just reached over to touch my tripod and my ring light, and it's like shaking. Hello, Costin. All right.
The kid, and it didn't really make a difference if the kid was young, like we're talking 15, 14 and younger, has to self-isolate in a separate room for 14 days. And if they leave their room and they can't avoid other people, they have to stay 2 meters away from other people in the same household. We're talking their parents, their siblings, their family.
This is insane. Like, can you imagine being a kid and you aren't sick, but you're sent home? You're sent home and you have to self-isolate now. Sorry guys, this is driving me insane. It was going to fall. There we go. I just bought that thing. I don't need it to break.
They have to stay 2 meters away from them, and they have to wear a face mask. They have to eat in a separate room. They have to sleep in a separate room. And I just said that anybody, any politician who approved this should be voted out of office.
Agreed.
And should be arguably charged with inciting child abuse. How
Agreed.
the Peel Health makes this recommendation that a family member, a minor, a child be isolated from their family for upwards of 14 days is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because even by the science, and this is in an article in the Toronto Sun that was explaining the situation, by the science, it doesn't make sense for children. I can understand if a parent has an underlying condition and wants to isolate themselves from the kid who might be at risk, but we're talking about kids who are not even confirmed positive or symptomatic,
Yeah.
but rather sent home from school because someone in their class tested positive.
Yeah.
And they're recommending what can only and arguably be considered child abuse, and the parents who received the flyer were so shocked or angry they refused to take the flyer, so Peel Health published it to the website. And I'm going to show you the screenshots, and I'll post the links to all of this so
And I will be taking a look at the links after we watch this video, just so that we can see what he's talking about.
you can know that it's legit and it is not fake news, some sort of silly social media post. This is real. This is where things have gotten. This is where the government has gotten. And worse than this, it would seem that from some tweets on the Twitter, that not only has the government recommended this, but that apparently some parents are actually doing it. And
What? As a parent, if I got a letter like that, I would tear it up. I would tear it up. Awfully short trip. Oh, hush, Duck Dog.
And they're posting tweets about how it breaks their heart that they're hearing their kid cry themselves to sleep alone in another room, and the kid is messaging them saying, "I'm lonely."
What the fuck? What kind of... I would never do that to my kids. Even if the government told me to, I would never do that to my kids.
At what point does it become too much? I've been having this discussion with a friend of mine over the last 12 months. Is this too much? Is this too much? Where 2-week lockdown turns into 4 months, turns into social distancing from family, turns into curfew, turns into not being able to celebrate holidays with your own family, turns into you're not allowed to have people come into your own house, your own family. Now it's turning into forcing juveniles, kids, to self-isolate for upwards of 2 weeks, as though the risks of the virus for children is that great that it could compromise the psychological damage. By all accounts, this is not my opinion, this is what experts are saying, because experts are up in arms about this. The psychological damage that this would do to a
No
kid.
kidding. Like, could you imagine being isolated from your family and you're not even the sick one? Right? Like, it's some kid in your class is sick and you get sent home because some kid in your class is sick and you have to isolate from your family. That would be horrible. That would break my heart as a parent. I would never do that to my kid. I would be like, fuck you. Fuck your letter. I'm going to tear it up right in front of you.
It's like, I just keep going back to Zoolander. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah.
That parents are actually doing it, no less. And they're doing it because they're afraid of what the government might do. And you know what? They might have good reason to be afraid of what the government might do. Because we now have seen that the government is whisking people off to quarantine hotels without telling them where they're going and forbidding them from telling their friends and family where they're going.
Yep.
I mean, the irony is it might even be beneficial to get arrested, because at least when you go to a police station and they haul you off to a police station, you can get a lawyer. You can tell people where you're going, and we know where the police station is.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt that some parents are actually doing this, even though I can't vet the tweets, that some parents are actually doing this out of pure fear, out of what the government might do. Might the government come and take their kids away and put their kids in some sort of hotel, quarantine hotel for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Better at home than having the government take them off and do this. Oh, but that would never happen, because that would be too far. That would be too far, as opposed to the Peel Health telling you to put a 10-year-old kid in a room for 2 weeks. It is madness. It's over the top madness. And I don't know that people know about these things. And so I don't want my channel turning into a COVID channel, but I think it's about time that people understand, appreciate, and become aware of the madness that is going out there, so that they can share it and they can raise awareness and they can make people realize how utterly over the edge and over the top things have gotten. All right, I see a dog who is in not deep snow, but in my old path there. That's it. Share this video. Let people know what is going on out.
Well, that's the... Oh, shit, I closed the thing without looking at the pinned comment. Stupid me. But there is an article that Pink Hollow sent me that has to do with this. So we're going to look at that. Oh, I can't believe I did that. But here is one of the articles that I think might be linked in Viva Fry's video. So we're going to read this. Can't believe I did that. That was stupid of me. Come on. Start talking. So yeah, this is about an article about how the experts are talking about how the Peel guidelines are detrimental. And it's a Toronto Sun article, so we'll take a look at this. All right, here we go. Okay, so here we go. Mental health problems, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, domestic violence, and suicide have risen since isolation and lockdown. When are we going to admit the cure is worse than the disease? Exactly. Exactly, Duck Dog. Exactly. Experts call Peel guidelines to place children in solitary quarantine cruel punishment. Agreed. This is published on February 27th. And we've got a picture of a school classroom here. And we're just going to turn up the volume. Oh, let's put the microphone over here. Turn this up a bit.
Heading level. Peel Health has issued. You blink. Guidelines. 2 parents instructing them to keep any children who have been sent home because a classmate has tested positive for COVID-19 isolated in a separate room from all other family members for 14 days.
Yeah, fuck off, Peel Region.
The severe guidelines, which apply even to small children who are dismissed from childcare, are being criticized by experts as harmful and not supported by science.
They are harmful and not supported by science. This is psychologically damaging. Especially to young kids. Like if they're like preschool age and they've been dismissed from daycare because there's a COVID outbreak or something, but they're not sick. Like, could you imagine isolating a 3 or 4-year-old in a separate room?
YouTube video player. Group. Fury factor.
Like I can't imagine this.
Shutting a child off from their parents and siblings for up to 14 days in this manner could produce significant and long-lasting emotional and psychological effects.
Yeah.
Guidelines issued by Peel Health instructing parents to keep kids with no symptoms isolated from the rest of their family if they are sent home from school because a classmate tests positive for COVID-19. Image. Guide. The handout distributed at Peel Region Schools explains, if your child does not have any symptoms, the child must self-isolate, which means stay in a separate room, eat in a separate room apart from others, use a separate bathroom if possible. Chrome has new window. Heading level 2. Advertise.
What is use a separate bathroom if possible? Yeah, because every home has more than one bathroom.
Group. Safe frame container. End of. Third party. This advertisement is heading level 2. Article con. The handout also says, if the child must leave their room, they should wear a mask and stay 2 meters apart from others. Any other children in the household not only must be both separated from their siblings but also stay home for 14 days.
Are you serious? All the kids have to stay home for 14 days? Jesus Christ.
This does not seem practically possible and is highly likely to cause harm to children who would already be experiencing considerable distress with having to remain at home, Dr. Tess Clifford, the director of the psychology clinic at Queen's University, said in an email to the Sun.
Yeah.
Clifford said those making decisions about pandemic mitigation measures need to consider the well-being of children across multiple domains of health.
They do. Like, this is a flu virus. This is not the bubonic plague or Ebola or smallpox. Like, is it one that we haven't seen before? Yeah. Is it detrimental to the elderly and immunocompromised? Yeah. That's why they should be protected. You shouldn't damage the psychological health of the general population for this. This is ridiculous.
I don't understand how any healthcare professional is moved so far away from the fundamentals of public health and of doing no harm that they would think that basically incarcerating a child in a room for 14 days is anyway justified, said Dr. Martha Fulford, an infectious diseases physician at Hamilton Health Science who focuses on pediatrics.
Yeah.
This is shocking, adds Fulford, especially when you consider this as being proposed for children who are not in any way sick.
Exactly. Like, these are kids sent home as a precaution who are symptom free and they're being punished?
Heading level 2. List in a new tab. Link. End of the list. Link. Web. The handout began appearing on social media in Chrome has...
Oops.
The handout began appearing on social media in recent days as Peel residents balked at receiving it. The Sun confirmed the authenticity of the document with Peel Health, although it is also posted on their link. Website. Period. Heading level 2. Story
That's crazy.
Heading level 2. Third party at this advertisement is not heading level 2. My 10-year-old granddaughter was sent home from school today because one kid in her class tested positive. Public health instructed her mom to keep her in her room with no contact with rest of family for 14 days, social media user Judy Martin wrote on Twitter. Sounds like child abuse to me. There's a $5,000 fine for non-compliance.
What the fuck? A $5,000 fine for non-compliance? And how the fuck are they supposed to know that you're not complying and letting your kid out of their room? Hey, selected boy. Seriously, how are they supposed to know? Are they going to install cameras now? Are the 1984 telescreens on their way to us?
www.u. Dr. Richardson said in addition to the policy being harmful, it is not supported by science.
No, it's not.
An asymptomatic child in a classroom with one child testing positive is at very low risk for acquiring infection, she says. Most importantly, we are losing sight of the fact that if he/she should contract COVID while quarantining at home, they and their siblings are at an extremely low risk of suffering severe disease as a consequence.
Exactly.
Pediatricians across Canada have. Link. Previously noted. Chrome has new window. Link. That while COVID-19 is very serious in some categories of people, it does not pose a risk for serious outcomes in children.
Yeah. Children are luckily relatively safe from this disease, from this virus.
Link. Afury at PostMe heading level 2.
So that's that
Share this
article.
in your social
What
network.
a
currently on a heading level 2.
ridiculous set of circumstances. I can't believe that it's a $5,000 fine if you don't comply. That is absolutely insane. a $5,000 fine. Like, holy shit. That's just, my mind is blown. Wow. My mind has just kind of been blown for a minute there. Okay. Next, what am I doing? I need to share the screen. Okay. Alrighty. So, here we go. So the U.S. Secretary of State is calling on China to release the two Michaels. So I guess they're showing a lip service, I guess. That is nuts. Yeah, that is nuts. A $5,000 fine for non-compliance. It's crazy. Okay. So, totally unacceptable. U.S. Secretary of State calls on China to free the two Michaels. All right, here we go.
Antony Blinken, U.S. Secretary of State, attends a virtual meeting with
Antony Blinken. Wait.
Windows spot words character word and Blinken. Blinken Blinken.
I know it's probably spelt a different way, but it's Blinken, our family's loyal blind servant. Anyway.
Top politicians in the United States and Canada sounded off on China on the weekend, condemning the detention of Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig and signaling plans to cooperate in securing the release of the two Canadians.
I'm sure.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken called the detentions totally unacceptable in an interview with CBC News aired on Sunday.
See, what? I don't believe this because Trudeau won't do anything about it. So why is this suddenly interesting to the U.S.?
Heading Level 2. Advertisement. Kovrig and Spavor, known in Canada as the two Michaels, have been detained in China on espionage charges since December 2018. Canadian officials have decried their detention as political retribution or hostage diplomacy by China, since their arrests came shortly after the RCMP detained Meng Wanzhou, a senior executive with Chinese telecom giant Huawei, on an extradition request from the United States.
This is exactly what that is. It's political retaliation and hostage diplomacy. That's exactly what it is.
Story continues. We stand strongly with Canada when it comes to the need to see the two Michaels released immediately and unconditionally, Blinken told. Link, CBC.
So you stand strongly with Canada on doing nothing. Okay. Gotcha.
We will continue to stand with Canada on that. I've made it clear in my own conversations with Chinese counterparts, and we look forward to the day when they're able to return home. You are correct.
So nothing.
Blinken's comments on the matter echo those of Biden, who pledged to help bring back the two Canadians during his summit with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau last week.
Yeah, he probably went, we're going to help bring those two Michaels home, and Trudeau went, yeah, let's talk about something else.
Human beings are not bartering chips, Biden said. We're going to work together until we get their safe return.
Human beings are not bartering chips, he says. Really? That's rich coming from you, sir.
But it's not clear exactly how the two nations will achieve that.
Because they won't.
These are processes that are ongoing, Trudeau told a news conference on Friday. The United States is taking their role in this very seriously, and we look forward to working with them on bringing the two Michaels home as soon as possible.
So, blah, 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 nothing. Blah, 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 nothing. Blah, 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 two Michaels. Blah, 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 nothing. That's what I read.
Blinken has repeatedly declined to comment on questions about whether the U.S. is considering a so-called deferred prosecution agreement, a form of plea deal that could allow Meng to return to China in return for an admission of wrongdoing. Last week, a Justice Department spokesman confirmed to the Canadian press that prosecutors were continuing to seek Meng's extradition to the U.S., where she is facing fraud charges. You are
Okay.
currently heading level 2. More. Link. Heading left. Next item. Story.
So that's
Continues
Oh,
below. In an.
is-
Link. In an. Link. Interview. With NBC's Meet the Press that aired on Sunday, Trudeau said Canada will honor its extradition treaty, accusing China of using trumped-up charges to try and pressure us to release Meng.
See, Trudeau has, like, he talks big, but he doesn't do anything. Like, he talks big to the press, and then China says something to him, and he calls them up. Oh, I'm sorry.
The relationship with China and Canada is deeply colored by the fact that they have arbitrarily detained 2 Canadian citizens, simply because we lived up to an extradition treaty with the United States, he said in the pre-taped interview.
Oh, whatever, Trudeau.
They, shortly afterwards, arrested 2 Canadian citizens on national security trumped-up charges and have detained them for about 800 days and counting now, in an attempt to try and pressure us to release the executive. We, of course, are a country of the rule of law. We will not do that. We live by our treaties and live by the rule of law.
And you are using 2 men as bargaining chips in that.
We, of course, are a country of the rule of law. We will not do that. We live by our treaties and live by the rule of law. Trudeau said his talks with Biden were very positive in us working together to try and resolve this situation and hold China to account.
So you just talked about the weather and, you know, your golf courses and your second homes, and that's what you talked about.
After his meeting with Foreign Affairs Minister Marc Garneau on Friday, Blinken praised the Canadian government's work on snuffing out politically motivated imprisonment around the globe by getting countries to sign on to its declaration against arbitrary detention.
Meanwhile, in Canada, their own citizens are being locked up in quarantine hotels, and a region in Ontario is suggesting the solitary confinement for its children.
The Declaration, a project initiated by former Foreign Affairs Minister François-Philippe Champagne, is from a coalition of more than 50 countries opposed to the state-sponsored political detention of foreign nationals. You are currently on a text step. Obviously, we have to focus on bringing the 2 Michaels home, but more broadly we have to work together to establish a basic norm in international conduct that this is simply unacceptable, Blinken told CBC on Sunday. That takes time. It takes effort.
Oh.
It takes sustained effort.
Jesus Christ. So it's been 800 days. Good God.
Story continue. Over the weekend, Michael Kovring's wife, Vina Mantibola. You are currently on a link. To click link. Told Global News that she hopes the government will seize this moment and convert the fresh U.S. support into action.
They won't. They won't.
What I took away from that is that President Biden has compassion for the unjust suffering that our Michael and Michael Spavor are going through, as well as that he understands that Canada has been paying a really high price since it accepted the extradition request from the U.S. 2 years ago, she said.
So you're willing to let your husband be a pawn? That's how it sounds.
Asked how her husband was doing, Najibullah said she has received letters from him and noted he is staying mentally strong. His situation is so incredibly, unspeakably difficult and he continues to stay focused on what he can control, she said.
That's sad.
With files from the Canadian...
That's really sad. That, like, you're... Because it sounds like his wife is like, it's for the greater good. Like, that's really what it sounds like here. He's doing this for the greater good. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's take a gander here at some Google News. Because we're going to read this. We're going to read this article here. The headline Google News. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy charged with corruption. Let's take a look at that. Let me just get into my DMs with myself here. Okay, let's take a look at that story. Okay. Back. Okay. Here we go. So, former French President Nicolas Sarkozy convicted of corruption. So he was convicted, not just charged. So yeah, and this is from the CBC. And it was published 2 hours ago. Okay. Let's take a look here. Share the screen. Okay, so where's that headline? There it is. Court found former president and co-defendant sealed a pact of corruption. All right, and so here we've got a picture of Sarkozy arriving at a courtroom on today in Paris. So here we go.
A Paris court on Monday found former French President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption and influence peddling and sentenced him to 1 year in prison, and also handed down a 2-year suspended sentence.
Wow, that's pretty easy, getting off on the corruption charges like that.
The 66-year-old politician, who was president from 2007 to 2012, was convicted for having tried to illegally obtain information from a senior magistrate in 2014 about a legal action in which he was involved.
Well done, Sarkozy, well done. Very well done, sir.
The court said Sarkozy is entitled to request to be detained at home with an electronic bracelet. Sarkozy's co-defendants, his lawyer and longtime friend Thierry Herzog, 65, and now retired magistrate Gilbert Azebert, 74, were also found guilty and given the same sentence as the politician.
Man, how come it's so easy to get away with corruption in France? Like, that is a pretty easy sentence.
The court found that Sarkozy and his co-defendants sealed a pact of corruption based on consistent and serious evidence. The court said the facts were particularly serious given that they were committed by a former president who used his status to help a magistrate who had served his personal interest. In addition, as a lawyer by training, he was perfectly informed about committing an illegal action, the court said.
So then why is he getting such a light charge?
Heading
Or
level 2.
sentence?
Sarkozy had firmly denied all the allegations against him during the 10-day trial, which took place at the end of the last year. You are currently on. The corruption trial focused on phone conversations that took place in February 2014.
So there's actual audio evidence.
At the time, investigative judges had launched an inquiry into the financing of the 2007 presidential campaign. During the investigation, they incidentally discovered that Sarkozy and Herzog were communicating via secret mobile phones registered to the alias Paul Bismuth. Conversations wiretapped on these phones led prosecutors to suspect Sarkozy and Herzog of promising Azebert a job in Monaco in exchange for leaking information about another legal case, known by the name of France's richest woman, L'Oréal heiress Liliane Bettencourt.
Well then. Well done, Sarkozy. Not.
In one of these phone calls with Herzog, Sarkozy said of Azebert, "I'll make him move up. I'll help him."
I'll make him move up. I'll help him. Okay.
In another, Herzog reminded Sarkozy to say a word for Azebert during a trip to Monaco. Legal proceedings against Sarkozy have been dropped in the Bettencourt case. Azebert never got the Monaco job. Heading level 2. Sarkozy called off for a little help. A Paris court on Monday found former French President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of corruption and influence peddling and a Paris court. A Paris court on Monday found former
Yeah,
French
it's
president.
just restarting. Okay. So yeah, Sarkozy made an oopsie and apparently is getting off very lightly. And who's shocked by that? Not me. Let's see, what else? Let's find something. Oh, interesting. Okay. Let's read. It's an opinion piece from the Toronto Sun. So let's read that. Okay. Let's close that window and go get the next story here. Come on, Chrome. Come on. I wonder where everybody is today. It's a quiet stream today. Okay. So apparently O'Toole made a video on the toilet. Okay. Where are we here? Share screen. Okay. Okay. I wonder if there actually is a copy of this video in this article. Kinsella, O'Toole's never going to be PM unless, or after his toilet paper video, unless he makes big changes. This was published today. So this is by Warren Kinsella. And it's written in the form of a letter. Okay, let's take a look here.
Article content. You are currently on a text. You don't mind, dear Aaron. You don't mind me calling you Aaron, do you? After your toilet video, I feel like I'm never, ever going to have to address you as Prime Minister O'Toole, so Aaron it is. Instagram model details how she made $1 million by age 20.
Oops.
You are current busy. GG502M5. Empty group. Busy.
Come on.
PD1HSW. PD1. End of. Mate. Footer. Cap.
What did you do?
Footer. Out of. Aaron O'Toole. Heading level 1. Off Warren Mars. Comment. Canada. End of. Heading. Dear Aaron. You don't mind me. Heading. Minimum. Close sticky video button. Chrome busy. GG1F7E5. Empty group. Busy.
Oh, is this the video?
Busy. Batra S. Burning questions. You don't mind me calling you Aaron, do you? After Batra S. Burning questions. Facebook. Goop.
Where's the sticky video? How do I close this?
RB4X3S1. Ds _ content _ frame. Group. Chrome busy. Frame 2.
What is going on here?
End up. Ds _ content _ link. Trackers logo. Pause. You remember Chrome has new. You remember the toilet video, don't you? You should. It may be recent, or it may be from a previous conservative leadership contest. Who knows? It doesn't matter, however, because it is so cringeworthy, so puerile, so idiotic, it actually is eternal. 100 years from now, when Canada has finally acquired sufficient vaccine doses to be injected into the waiting arms of more than 3% of the population, your toilet video will be studied. You are currently on Observe, class. Here is how Erin O'Toole lost. The future political science professor will say, likely in Mandarin, because Justin Trudeau wanted it to become an official language. Watch this video, and see how Erin O'Toole could not score on the biggest, emptiest net. Heading level 2. Advertisement.
What did he do? Where's the video? I want to see
Story
it.
continues below. Third-party ad content. Group. You are
Say Frank container.
end of. This advertisement. Heading level 2. Article con. In the video, which I recommend no one see because it will depress them, you, a grown man, are standing in front of Langdon Block, which houses the office of the Prime Minister, and then you amble over to an outhouse that is nearby, and you chortle that this is where you are going to put Justin Trudeau.
Oh, no, 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 no. Really?
YouTube. Free. Now, Erin, you are not the first conservative leader to be failed by bad visuals. There was Doc Day, who put on a wetsuit and rode a jet ski to his doom at a press conference.
Yep.
Seriously, he did that.
Yep, he did.
There was Joe Clark, who walked into a bayonet, or just about did, while on an international trip. Yes, happened. You are currently...
Yep.
And there was Andrew Skier, your immediate predecessor, who looked like a small-town insurance salesman, even though he wasn't even able to credibly claim to being that, or, as it turned out, a Canadian without dual citizenship somewhere else. And now there's you, a guy who aspires to the highest office in the land, who makes official videotapes about toilets.
Yeah, this is why Polyev needs to be oh! Spring is here now. Oh, a certain Simeon went live just after I did he? Okay. That's where everybody is.
Oh, and were you in the armed forces? I don't think you've told us that 100 times yet today, Erin, like you do it every other day. Erin, listen. You could be Prime Minister, but we're not so sure you want to be, anymore. Maybe you like Stornoway a lot. You are...
Yeah, this is why I think Polyev needs to be the Prime Minister.
But consider this, your opponent has spectacularly, indisputably screwed up the simplest of simple tasks. Buy vaccines, buy them early. He couldn't do either. Because of that, Canadians will die who weren't supposed to die just yet.
Yep.
Heading level 2. Advertise. Story continued. Third-party ad. This advertisement has not loaded yet. Heading level. We are now somewhere near 60th in the world for vaccines. We are dipping into the third world supply because your opponent has no soul and because he screwed everything up. And more than 70% of Canadians are mad at the government, and almost half of them say they're really, really mad.
Yeah.
You are currently...
Yeah.
You haven't benefited politically from that stuff at all. In fact, some astonished pollsters say you've dropped a bit. If an election is held anytime soon, you are going to lose it.
Yes, you are. And that's the scary part. The Conservatives were the last best hope for Canada, and if O'Toole keeps this up, we're gonna get a frickin' NDP government. Really, what, really? Really, you don't let blackface pass, but toilet time gets a knockout? I don't know. I think that was probably a stupid thing to do for O'Toole.
Wakey, Erin. Time to make some big changes. Staff firings, caucus exiling, policy gutting, whatever it takes, you need to do it, and do it fast. Politics is a blood sport, and you need to spill some of your own people. YouTube. Stephen Harper fired 100 staffers when he was opposition leader, and he won. My former boss Jean Chrétien, too, canned a terrible chief of staff, made some big changes, won the election. You need to do likewise. Quite a bit is riding on the next election, in case you haven't noticed. Get with it, Erin. You are currently...
Yeah.
Or keep making toilet videos. You are currently on... The choice is yours, Erin. Yours sincerely. You are Erin.
So, yeah, I think this is a little bit hyperbolic, a little hyperbolic, but O'Toole does need to O'Toole does need to shape up. Don't say that, Blind Press. I remember the NDPD government under Ray. Oh, you poor bastard. Ray days. I was like literally either just born or like born just after, I think. Okay, let's find one more story. What? Okay, for today's what story, we're gonna read this. You guys are gonna go what when you see this headline? Cause I just did. Okay, let's get this opened here. Oh, Tulip Fuel. Hey, Mr. Goatman. Okay. So, apparently, oh well, I don't want to spoil it. We'll just let the headline speak for itself when I get the screen shared here. All right, here we go. Share screen. Chrome tab. All right, so this in today's what the fuck category of news. Ontario man battles bell and contractor after worker uses power tool to clean his car. So Bell is a telecommunication company up here. It's the biggest one. So this is a CBC article, and we're gonna read it here.
An Ontario man tells CBC's Go Public about how he had to fight for $1,500 in compensation from Bell Canada and one of its contractors for damage done to his car.
Jesus Christ. $1,500.
513 David Rooney couldn't believe what he was seeing when he looked out his front window in June and saw a Bell Canada contract employee aiming a high-pressure water excavator, the same one he'd been using to dig holes in the ground, at Rooney's car, peeling the paint right off.
What the fuck? Why? Why would you do that? What? Why would you do that?
There was quite a wash of water, probably 10 feet high, Rooney told Go Public. So I came up to find that he's washing my car and asked him to stop immediately.
But why did he feel the need to do that? Like, was he bored? Like, what the...
By the time, though, the damage was done, $1,500 worth.
I bet body work is not cheap.
After accidentally splashing mud on Rooney's 2012 Hyundai Genesis, which was parked in the driveway, the worker used a power tool called a hydrovac excavator to try to clean it off. The worker was one of hundreds Bell hired to install fiber optic lines across the country, including on Rooney's street.
Okay, so he got mud on the car, a 2012 car, so it's not even a new car. He got mud on the car, and instead of like going up to the house and going, "Hey, I'm sorry, I accidentally got some mud on your car. If you'd like, I can give you some money for a car wash or something." He decides to use a tool that is used to dig holes in the earth to wash the mud off. Okay.
Rooney figured getting compensation would be simple. After all, the worker admitted it was his fault. You are currently in a list one-eyed bullet. Go team. Bullet. Got a story?
Oh,
And
hold on.
instead, Rooney spent the next 7 months battling both Bell and the company it hired to do the work on its behalf, Super Sucker Hydrovac Service, for the cost of the damage. In many cases, property owners have no choice but to allow telecommunications companies onto their property. Land titles often include rights of way which allow city workers and other service providers to come onto a property when doing work considered essential.
Yeah.
Fixing the paint peeled off Rooney's car cost $1,500, Robert Gorbavic/C. But when that work leads to damage, consumers are often treated like a hot potato that none of the companies involved want to compensate, says John Lawford, the executive director of the Public Interest Advocacy Center, a non-profit organization that provides legal and research services on behalf of consumers.
Yeah, when service providers fuck up, they do not want to own it and pay for it.
There's a very low likelihood of getting any money back if the company or the telco resists paying you. Chances are you're going to get nothing, or face a legal battle if you want to fight it, Lawford said.
Yep.
You are currently on a heading level. Rooney says when his car was damaged, Bell refused to offer any compensation and pointed him to Super Sucker. That company passed him to its insurance provider, Federated Insurance.
I bet they did.
And they said that I should not be dealing with them, but going to my own insurance company. So I called my insurance company and found that I have a $500 deductible that will come out of pocket. I didn't think that was fair, he said.
It's not.
It wasn't until Go Public contacted the two companies months later that Super Sucker finally compensated Rooney.
Yeah, it's amazing what getting the media involved does.
Watch vertical line, high pressure hydrovac. Play media. Watch vertical line, high pressure hydrovac digs into the ground. Play media high pressure hydro. A worker demonstrates a hydrovac, an excavating tool that uses high pressure water to loosen dirt and suck the resulting slurp.
Okay, so this is the tool that. Okay, so we're gonna quickly play this video. So this is the hydrovac. This is what the guy used to wash this dude's car. I can hear how ridiculous that is. That would destroy a car's paint. How does somebody seriously not know what tool to use to wipe mud off a car, right? I threatened a bunch of power generation workers. I threatened a bunch of power company workers that if they touched any of my maple trees, I was going to have to see how well they would work with a full tube of triple up buck in their asses. Nice, Duck Dog. So yeah. And then let's see what the rest of the article says.
In an email to Go Public, Super Sucker spokesperson Mark Elias says the issue should have been settled by the insurance companies. This is not a matter that should be handled by anyone internally or by Mr. Rooney himself. That's why we pay for insurance in the first place. Not only to cover any of the financial costs of an incident, but to handle the whole process from start to finish, Elias wrote.
Uh-huh.
Bell spokesperson Nathan Gibson says the company's contractors are ultimately responsible for resolving complaints when they do damage and says Bell provides oversight until there is resolution.
I'm sure they do.
But in Rooney's case, Gibson says the situation wasn't handled to the company's standards and that the contractor didn't meet its obligations.
No, I would say not.
It says it apologizes to Rooney for his experience. There was a serious issue with communication from our contractor and we have addressed the incident with them, Gibson wrote in an email to Go Public.
Yes, I'm sure you have. These things have enough pressure they could dig a hole. You do not need a shovel. Yeah, and that's what he used to clean the dude's car.
Heading level 2. It's happening all the time. Rooney got his money, but Grace McLeod of Brantford, O&T, is still waiting for Bell to pay up. You are currently on a text. Ruth McLeod isn't even a Bell customer. Her internet provider is Rogers. You are currently on a text element, but when Bell employees installed underground fiber optic lines on her condo property in September, they cut the Rogers lines, cutting off McLeod's internet service and leaving her unable to work for the day.
Wow.
So I said to the three guys working next to the hydro box, "Are you guys from Bell Canada?" And they said, "Yes." And I said, "Did you just cut my Rogers lines?" And they said, "No," McLeod told Go Public.
No.
But a few hours later, she says a Rogers technician confirmed the lines had been cut, telling her it's happening all the time.
Wow.
McLeod, who works in collections, tried to get Belle to pay for the wages she lost when she wasn't online working, but was told no since she's not a Belle customer.
But you guys fucked up your... Oh my god. Fuck Belle, man. And I know I say fuck Belle, but Virgin is with Belle, so...
Grace McLeod says Bell employees cut internet lines near her. David Rooney couldn't believe what he was seeing when he looked out his front window and
So yeah, that's the... So that... It just took me off to the
there was quite a wash
beginning
of water,
of
probably
the
10
story,
feet high.
so... But yeah, that's the story. That's the what the fuck story of the day. And that takes us to about 1 o'clock, guys. So I'm gonna end this here and go get something to eat. And I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Thank you for watching me. And please come back tomorrow for Beat the Blind Girl at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. And thank you for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. Bye.